Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, fans and friends from a galaxy far, far away and a long time ago. Ladies and gentlemen, the Star Wars lawsuit is heating up. It is getting spicy, as you're very well aware. If you haven't already, go back and check out some of my other videos. But if not, I'll inform you of it right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you weren't aware, the Gina Carano and Disney Star Wars lawsuit is going forward because, of course, they already got past the removal to dismiss, which is something the judge flat out said that the Disney company gave them no quality evidence whatsoever in any one shape or form to actually meet any of the requirements for dismissal. So this case is going forward, and the latest update to all of that is the list of witnesses that Gina Carano and her team are wanting to call for the stand, the witness stand, ladies and gentlemen, to testify before a court of law in full view of the public, to testify exactly what went on behind the scenes with Disney Star Wars and Gina Carano's firing. And ladies and gentlemen, this is exciting. This is heating up, and I really do hope this goes all the way to full bore court, that they do not settle out of court for this. And I really hope Gina is wanting that as well, because this will be the most intriguing, insightful, and enlightening view into Star Wars and the operations inside of the Disney Lucasfilm that we have ever gotten, ladies and gentlemen. Far gone will be us all depending on rumor and WDW Pro's reliable sources over and over again. No, we will have the witness testimony. And who might those witnesses be? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that laundry list is fascinating, and we're going to get into it right here because our dear sweet Jonas J. Campbell over there on Twitter has a full list, and also Disney's counter-argument. And of course, we've got an article over here from The Hollywood Reporter, which surprisingly is not taking sides. So shout out to Winston Chow for reporting on this completely and totally fairly and down the middle of the road on this. And boys and girls, this is spicy. So we're going to check out this article from The Hollywood Reporter, get into the full list of everybody that's been called, as well as who Disney has added to that witness list as well. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, because we are inching our way closer and closer to 1,000, and I could not do that without every single one of you. By the way, this will be our second time around hitting 1,000 on this new channel, so please, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Also, leave us a comment down below and let us know if you're excited, if you think this case will end up getting settled out of court for for a whole bunch of money, or do you think this thing will actually end up going to trial and we'll get to see all of these witnesses actually take the stand. All right, from the HollywoodReporter.com, Gina Carano calls for Pedro Pascal, Kathleen Kennedy to testify over the Mandalorian firing. Oh, this could get spicy. The actress claimed that the Disney discriminated against her by turning a blind eye to politically charged posts from her male co-stars. That's right, because you're supposed to treat your people equally. Everybody's supposed to be treated fairly and under the same rules. Rules for thee, but not for me, does not hold up. But that does not hold up very well in a court of law, and judges certainly don't like double standards, boys and girls. And look at that lovely picture of Gina. Look at that big, beautiful smile. And honestly, if I never see Pedro Pascal's face again, it'll be too soon. Gina Carano's legal... He's just so overused in Hollywood right now. He became like the hot new thing, and now he's everywhere. And I'm just like, I can't stand him. Gina Carano's legal battle over her firing from The Mandalorian could feature a star-studded cast of witnesses, including Pedro Pascal, Jon Favreau, legendary director, by the way, absolutely great stuff. If you haven't seen The Chef, I highly recommend it. It's a great father-son story, so good, and it'll make you hungry. Go watch it. And ex-Disney chief executive Bob Chapek, you know, the guy who once tried to say they were going to try to get Disney out of politics, and then boom, got forced by all of the woke, insane mob inside of the Walt Disney Company, forced to kowtow, bend the knee, and look like a political prisoner inside of that apology video that he did. Yeah. Can you imagine what Chapek would have to say under oath in a court of law? I don't know. Does NDAs apply when you get called to a witness stand? I'm not so sure about that. In a joint filing from the ex-MMA fighter and Disney, Carano pointed to those names as potential witnesses that could be called to testify in her case. She also included Bear Grylls, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, yes, please make KK testify. And Lynn Hale, the engineer of the publicity campaign behind Star Wars. Can you imagine the mask of like the way she tries to present herself nice in public, slipping from Kathleen Kennedy with like an aggressive lawyer going out there just asking her questions and hammering her? I have this funny feeling she would just snap. She would just snap and just lose it right there in the middle of the courtroom. And oh, God, please, Lord in heaven, let this thing go to trial, please. The July 26th court document previews issues to be raised in the trial, tentatively scheduled for September 25th, 2025. Wow, we got a ways to go for that one. Such as whether Carano was under contract on February 10th, 2021, when Disney purportedly terminated her for voicing right-wing opinions on social media. Well, of course she was under contract. You'll have all the documents to prove that. Another contested issue is whether Carano was treated differently than her male co-stars. In her lawsuit filed in February, she alleged that Disney and Lucasfilm turned a blind eye to others who she said made offensive and denigrating posts directed toward Republicans while she was allegedly fired for her cultural and religious beliefs. She pointed out to Pascal's 2017 post comparing former President Donald Trump to Hitler. Other posts from Pascal cited in the lawsuit included one of him comparing the United States' response to those entering the country illegally to Germany's concentration camps. Wow! So what was Gina fired for? Yes, making a reference to World War II and how we shouldn't other our neighbors because of what it leads to. But of course, it was perfectly okay for Pedro Pascal to make those exact same comments, one of them directed at an actual living person. Yeah, there's no double standards inside of the Walt Disney Company now, is there? The Mandalorian creator, Favreau, meanwhile, would presumably be called to testify on whether Disney greenlit plans for a new spin-off titled Rangers of the New Republic that would have featured Carano's Cara Dune as one of its lead characters. Kennedy in 2020 confirmed production of the title. Now, our writer here, Chow, could have left that out. But he's being fair on this. He also included not just the accusations that Carano and her lawsuit are making, but the examples they are citing. Like I said, shout out to the writer of this article. Shout out to him for that. So this is one of those things. And once again, why would Favreau testify? Why do we need to know that it's green lit? Because that equals out to the amount of money that Gina will be able to sue and argue for in court, because that's an entire series that she would have gotten, even if it only made it past one season. If she's in every single episode, that's an insane amount of money. That's millions of dollars she missed out on because of the double standard over there at Star Wars, over at Disney Lucasfilm, for firing her for her political beliefs and her opinions out there on social media, but keeping Pedro. And I'm sure there's plenty of other examples out there we could cite as well, but these are the ones highlighted in the court because, of course, that was her co-star on the exact same show. Other than posts from Pascal cited in the lawsuit, the United States response. Oh, yeah, that one. We talked about the Favreau. So Grills may be called to testify. Bear Grylls, right? Would be called over allegations that Disney pulled an episode of Running Wild with Bear Grylls that featured Carano after she was terminated. So unless he can go on the stand and give another reason as to why that episode never aired outside of the Disney issues with Star Wars star Gina Carano, well, then, I guess we know what's going to happen here, don't we? That's more money that she lost out on. In the filing, Disney pushed back on Carano's list of eyewitnesses while saying that it may call Lucasfilm VP Animation and Live Action Development Carrie Beck and Disney Executive VP Communications Paul Roeder to testify. Now, I wonder what those two could push back against all of these people on. I don't know, but a trial would sure be interesting to find out about. So the development comes after the federal judge last week rebuffed Disney's bid to dismiss the lawsuit. U.S. District Judge, we talked about all of that at the beginning. With her ousting from the Star Wars universe, Carano potentially lost out on millions of dollars. The standard contract for a series regular on other spinoffs is for roughly 6 years at a base salary beginning at $150,000 to $250,000 per episodes, which each season consisting up to 10 episodes. $2.5 million lost on potentially one series. One series, boys and girls. That's something to sue over. I mean, that's absolutely insane. And so what do we have here? The full list over here from dear sweet Jonas J. Campbell, who I'm sure has actually gone through all the legal filing documents, which I just don't have the time for, boys and girls. But shout out to Jonas. Here's the list of the people or entities that Gina Carano has called on to testify. Obviously herself, Gina Carano, UTA, IDPR, Jon Favreau, Pedro Pascal, Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Chapek, Lynn Hall, and Bear Grylls. And of course, Disney has now said that they don't agree with the list. Of course you don't want to agree with that list. But they're adding Carrie Peck and Paul Roeder, which are the ones we just went over here in this article. So boys and girls, this is getting spicy. Can you imagine a world where we get to see Kathleen Kennedy finally called on the red carpet to at least answer for some of her crimes against Star Wars fans and specifically against Gina Carano? Can you imagine watching Pedro Pascal squirm in his seat as they pull up his posts referencing things far worse than what Gina Carano referenced out there, specifically saying far worse things on posts that I'm sure are still up to this day about that? Can you imagine that drama? Can you imagine the joy we would get to see those fools squirm? I have no idea if it's going to happen. I pray this makes it to an actual trial. I want to see these witnesses on the stand. I want to hear the reports of what happens in that courtroom. And I want to finally see Gina Carano and every fan, Star Wars fan of hers, and every other fan of hers out there get their final justice. Because guess what, boys and girls? The pendulum is finally swinging back. People are finally pushing back. People are finally fighting back. We finally have the resources to take on behemoths like Disney Star Wars. And if that doesn't give you hope for the future, boys and girls, I don't know what will. We are winning. And Disney Star Wars is getting exactly what they deserve. After all, they did it to themselves. Double standards don't work out very well in a court of law. Now do they, Disney?